Welcome to A View from the Summit, where we explore the unique relationships between animals and humans, whether it's an Olympic partner or couch buddy, a working companion or unique pet, a world champion or someone you think the world of. Join us for a look at animals in our lives. Brought to you by Summit Animal Health. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of A View from the Summit. My name is Steve Searcy, and I'm your co-host. And man, I'm purring with excitement. There's a little clue there, purring with excitement. But it's a big, big, big purr. It's a manly purr, if you know what I mean. But anyway, we're going to get to that. I have the pleasure now of introducing one of the coolest persons in the world, way up there in Minnesota, who today inoculated over 150 cows for some, I don't know, bizarre disease. My co-host, Robin Benson, way up there in the woods doing God knows what.
Oh, Steve, thank you. Hi, everyone. And it's great to be here. Thanks. Yeah, my husband and daughter and I have a working beef cattle ranch in northwestern Minnesota. We love it. It's much warmer today than normally is this time of year. So we're grateful when you work cattle and your hands don't freeze and all the equipment stays thawed out. That's always a good day. But I'm super excited to be here and can't wait to hear from Tanya. She has so much fun stuff. Steve, tell us a little bit about Tanya and her organization. I can't wait. This is so exciting.
It is my pleasure to introduce Tanya Smith. Tanya is founder of the Turpentine Creek Animal Rescue, and their main thing is they rescue big cats. And they're the ones that the federal government calls in when they need help to rescue animals or crazy people that have these pets. Tanya, welcome to our program.
Well, I appreciate you having me on. It's Tanya Smith, but that's
Oh,
okay.
well,
Everybody gets it confused. And it's Turpentine Creek Wildlife Refuge in Eureka Springs, Arkansas. And, we've been blessed to be here for 31 years now, and I'm just so excited for the growth of the foundation. Right now, we house over 100 big cats and bear and a variety of other animals. All of these animals are rescued from abused or abandoned, unwanted situations where, somebody died, divorce, or, just whatever happens in life. And then suddenly an animal's homeless. And, our specialty is big cats, lions, tigers, cougars, leopards. We have a jaguar right now and quite a few other animals that we've rescued. Seems like our biggest rescues have been lately from the Tiger King Park, the different parks that have gone out of business. And a lot of those bad guys have gone to jail, which is awesome, but or they're being indicted for animal cruelty charges and things that we've known has been going on for a long time. Right now we're in the process of bringing in 34 cats from Carol Baskin at Big Cat Rescue. So she's decided that she's turning her nonprofit into a foundation, and they're going to be selling the property there in Tampa, Florida. And we've agreed to take all the animals. So we're in the middle of doing a big build out of Freedom Field, which is 44 new big natural enclosures for the majority, they're all 34 per cats will come, and all but about 13 are here right now that we've rescued or relocated here. Jamie has been so great to bring them and steward them here to the sanctuary, and they're just enjoying life now here at Turpentine Creek.
You don't, Tanya, you don't get up and say, I think I'll start a big cat rescue. How in the world did this thing start?
My dad and mom actually rescued the first line in 1978. So, we were really the people in the backyard with a lion that shouldn't have a lion in their backyard. I was in school, my parents were working full time, but we had one lion, and then a young lady had approached my parents, through a mutual contact that she had this lion living in an apartment with a 6-month-old baby. And she thought that it would be a really great idea to raise this lion and this baby together. And the next thing you know is my parents, because we already had one lion, got approached to take in this other lion female. And that was the start of the Big Cat Rescue organization that, we really established it in 1992 is whenever we actually formed a nonprofit organization and realized that there was a big need for animals like this that needed help. At one time we even tried to, we thought, well, maybe we're not the best place for our cats. We should maybe find another home. And there's just nowhere out there that would take them. We had a big neutered male lion that he never grew a mane because he was neutered at a young age. And nobody wanted that lion. It's not a good display animal or anything for a zoo. And so it made us realize that there's just not a place for these type of animals to go whenever, somebody realizes the responsibility of owning an animal like that.
And
Wow. So you've basically grown up in this world, right? Like, how many people can actually say that? Yeah. Some people have an experience or whatever, but how unique is that growing up? So share a little bit, like this show, we have a YouTube, we posted on YouTube, we posted on Spotify, but listeners, watchers, they love animals and they love connections with animals. And so you grew up with them, like not in a way that we would grow up with a puppy in our backyard, but you grew up with a rescue mentality, with a thinking about the animals and how you could help them. And these are not animals that kind of live right around everybody's backyard around here, like they're not your typical animal. So how did that process go as a young person for you? And then what was it that kept you so drawn to it that you just sounds like took over, from your parents?
Well, I just always loved animals. I've been a huge animal lover. I was the girl, at 8 years old that would go to the dump and find 3 litters of kittens that were all different sizes and bring them home and tell my mother that I don't know where they came from. They just wandered up. And, she knew better.
they followed me home.
Yeah. So she knew better. And we just lived that life. We were always saving animals. I rescued a little Pekingese that was blind. Somebody had shot its eyes out. I couldn't have been more than about 10 years old from a dog catcher down in Texas, and my parents took in that dog and actually had the eyes removed. And that dog lived with us for till he's very old age. So, or she was. And, it's just been awesome to be able to give back to animals that give me so much love. And I respect them for what they are. They're the animals that we deal with are big cats. They're big bear. We have a Russian brown bear that we rescued many years ago, and they deserve the respect that they get. And here at Sanctuary, and Sanctuary is so much different than just a roadside zoo, and a lot of people don't know the differences. So, we don't breed, buy, or sell any animals. We're strictly rescue. We provide a lifetime home when we take on a commitment to rescue an animal. It's here to, it, passes away of natural causes late in life. A lot of our animals, anything in big cat world is geriatric at 12 or 14 years old. And we have many cats that live 20 years old and more. And, we've had one cat we lost this year that was 1 week from being 25 years old. So, we pretty much can double their life expectancy in captivity by just making sure they have all their needs met through food and medications. And, big cats are predators, so they like to hide their illness. If they're not eating or pooping in 3 days, then we're seeing what's going on, and that's how we detect a lot of illness early in these large predators.
Can you, or do you, I guess, have a relationship with these animals since they're big cats, since this is a sanctuary? I mean, do you have a relationship with them individually?
Yeah, most of the animals recognize me. I usually make sure I go on all the rescues whenever they happen. I'm not out there doing the day-to-day animal care, but anytime there's an animal in the vet hospital or they need extra hands-on, I'm there. I've got a good qualified team that I've developed over the last 31 years that that does such a great job and just really puts their whole heart and effort and love into each and every animal that is calls its home here at Turpentine Creek. So it's just amazing to be around the animals, but I don't, we have a hands-on policy here. We want everybody to go home with their hands on. And that means you're not putting your hands in the cages. You're not, doing things like that. And we're training biologists, zoologists that are going to go out all over the world and be zookeepers, or they're going to go back to veterinarian school. They're going to be vet techs. They're going to work with animals in the wild. So we want to make sure that we teach safety first. And that's how we've gotten by so long without having an injury or incident here, is because, we have the 3-step back rule. You don't turn your back on an animal, even if you're right next to the cage. So you got to take 3 steps back before you make that turn around. And, the cats like to attack from behind. Our wire is, 2x4 wire, 4x4 wire. So the gaps aren't very big. So the cats aren't likely going to get a paw through or anything like that. And we've done this long enough that we know that we have to transfer animals into smaller spaces and things like that. We call them night houses. So we can actually lock the animal into different areas of their big habitats or into their night houses to be able to make sure that we can get in. And every day, the refuge, uh, the animals are, their areas are cleaned every single day. So the habitats get cleaned once every 5 days or so. And all the enrichment toys gets rearranged around the habitats, which is a lot of fun for not only the interns that we have. Right now we have 17 biologists, zoologist interns. And,
Wow.
like I said, they come in from all over the world to learn how to work with large predators. And it actually puts their resume at the top of the stack of a large, of a zoo that maybe only have one position that comes available every 10 years, or longer, but it gets that resume right to the top of the stack because they have the experience that they learned here at Turpentine Creek.
Wow.
Hey,
So the
hey,
animals whoop, sorry,
go
Steve,
ahead.
we're
Go
all
ahead,
so
Robin.
excited
No, it's fine.
about this. The animals come for life when you take them in. And you were just talking about, 34 animals you're working on transitioning to your sanctuary. How much space do you have? Because you're building out these large, habitats, and they're not just living in cages, which is so amazing. But, it must be a challenge to just keep building out these massive, massive areas for that's a lot of new cats.
It is, we have 460 acres here at Eureka Springs, Arkansas. And, we fell in love with this property probably 15 years before we ever purchased it. Fell in love with the lady that owned it, and Miss Joyce Harvey. She was a wonderful woman that we became friends with. And, every time I was anywhere doing anything, and things just weren't going so well, I'd call my parents and I'd say, hey, we need to do whatever we can to get to that property in Eureka Springs. I just feel a strong urge and drawing to be there, and then, back at the end of 91, a lady with 42 lions and tigers had approached my parents because we had 2 lions, and she was on the run from the law from Texas. We didn't really know all these things, but she had them in these 3 cattle trailers, ended up about 15 miles away from my parents' house down in South Arkansas. And, the next thing I know is they're selling everything they owned, and myself too. And we made a deal to purchase this property here in Eureka Springs, 460 acres. We moved all of those animals there, plus a variety of other animals that we had already created and collected and saved over the years. We had a long line
Wow.
of saving all different animals. So
My goodness. Tell us, tell us the most unique experience that you've had with a big cat.
Hmm.
What's even a heartfelt moment, one that you really felt connected or communicated with something that moved you?
There's so many things that, I always tell the interns when they first get here is, you can experience you're going to experience every emotion you can ever imagine. And it all could be in the same day, from the highest of high to the lowest of low. And it's so true whenever you're dealing with animals, especially out of a rescue situation where you see the animal come in, a lot of times emaciated or however, um, they were living in the past, and being able to pull that animal out of that situation and actually can get it the medical care that it needs, make sure it has all its needs met, um, and watch the transformation of that animal into becoming a cowardly animal that is scared of people to one that is running towards us as and chuffing, as a tiger does a friendly sound, it's called a chuff. And to see that animal transform from that poor desperate situation to such a lovely beautiful ending, um, it's hard to have a favorite here. And whenever you work with a majority of animals like I do every day, it makes it real tough to have a favorite. Um,
What was the biggest turnaround you've had in terms of attitude of an animal, where you picked up one that was scared and hungry and
well, I can
defenseless?
tell you about Chief. He's our lion. He came from Indiana. He was part of the Tiger King saga rescues. He was at Tim Stark's. When we went into that rescue, Tim Stark was at large, and the Department of Justice decided they're going to go in and take every animal he owned. So he owned about 200 animals on site where we went. We went in with about 50 to 60 officers that had swept the property, and they had guns and full armor going in taking animals out. Well, the day before we went in the second day because we went in to save the tigers and the big cats, and they wanted all the other small cat animals out of there, and so that was a lot. um, when we got there to see Chief, he's an African lion. He was so emaciated and laying in the corner of his cage, terrified. Um, he didn't want to move. He didn't want to eat. He hadn't eaten in a week. He hadn't done anything, but just was scared. So our curator, Emily McCormack, we went over, we evaluated his situation, wondering if we didn't want to tranquilize him because he was so in such bad shape. So we ended up through the fence giving him a bag of fluids. That gave him a little bit of energy. Uh, Chief got up, did a really big stretch, and then he went and got in the crate. It was just amazing that he did that. And with a little coursing and talking, he stood up and got in that crate, and we got him back to the sanctuary where we could evaluate a situation. And that was in 2020, I think. And he's still here, and he's doing great. He's gained a lot of weight, and he he almost wags his tail like a dog whenever he sees us because he's so excited that we're
Oh,
we're
wow.
taking good care of him, and he's just got a great life here at the sanctuary. So that's just one of over 500 stories I could tell you, because each animal comes with its own individual story and its own individual past and trauma. We have animals from the circus, we have animals from um, you know, other situations where, who knew what would have happened to the animals if we weren't there to take them in. And most of the time, the animal would have had to been euthanized because there's just not many big cat sanctuaries across the country.
Wow.
Well,
So
we
thinking
actually,
about all this,
yeah, we
no, go ahead.
started a Big Cat Sanctuary Alliance actually, which I'm really proud of because through the Colorado project, that's where we were stationed. We actually taken over another park that had 115 big cats and bears on site. It was on about, we say 12 acres, but actually the animals were only about 7.5 acres. So they're in really small containments with pallet mulch, which is mulch with nails and staples and all this stuff in it, for 7 months that we were there, because I was actually boots on the ground there, while we placed all the animals in all these different other sanctuaries. And we ended up taking back 34 big cats to Turpentine Creek Wildlife Refuge. Well, and bear. We ended up with 5 of the 9 bear that were there because we couldn't place them anywhere across the country. There was nobody in the country that wanted these bears. So, I couldn't leave until they were all gone. So we ended up bringing them home.
Wow. So as an animal person and people listening and watching it, it hits our hearts so much. And looking through your website and reading all the stories, I've never been to your facility, but I read through a bunch of the stories of the animals. And if you're watching or listening today, definitely we'll post the links to the website, but definitely go check out the website. And there is a dire need. I'm going to just jump out here and say this because Tanya hasn't mentioned it yet, but this is year end, and these animals need all of our help with support. If you can donate or support them, go on the website and check out the stories. But I was telling Steve before you jumped on here, from an animal lover's perspective, and we use animals, we work our cattle with horses, and we, take care of everything as best we can. But it's kind of, for lack of, I couldn't put a better word on it, but kind of heavy. Like there's a lot of stuff you see that's so just hurts your heart. Like even you telling us about Chief, just so sad. And to think about people doing this to these amazing animals, to me, I don't know how a person would want one of these as a pet. They belong in the wild. They just need to be wild. But it's a serious issue, and it's sad and it's heavy. And like you were talking about the emotions, but what a beautiful turnaround to see them happy at your refuge. And stories like that, I mean, I can see from looking at all the stories, and like I said, every one of them has a name and every one of them has a story, and it's beautiful. I love how you've done that for people like me who don't live close and can't see them all in person like Steve. But what are some of, I mean, obviously seeing the turnaround and the drive for you, it's endless joy, right? To see them walking around every day, like you remember where they came from. But like, what are some of the other drivers? Because it's grueling work in the sense of constantly dealing with these emotions like this, right? I mean, that's hard to handle. So animals help us manage emotions a lot of times, but also when it is a drain in a great way. You're serving. But tell us how you deal with it, because you've been doing it for 30 plus years, more than that, really. That's a lot of emotional work every day.
Well, I did put a psychologist on our board of directors this year, or last year, because that's true. You have to have empathy for the animals and their situation, but you also have to have empathy for the people that you're dealing with, the people that you're taking animals from. We don't normally take animals from people unless they give them up willingly or the police have gotten involved. But and then just the caregivers, whenever you're, my curator, Emily's been with me for 26 years now, and so has Lori Vanderwall, our assistant curator. They all started out as interns years ago and have stuck here all that time and live it day to day, from the highest high to the lowest low. So, and it is an emotional roller coaster whenever you're dealing with animals that you really care about, and they're all part of our family here. So when we lose an animal here, it's like losing a brother. It's tough on us, and it doesn't matter. You just go back and reminisce about where that animal came from, what it had to live through, and then what it got to experience in the end of the life. Some people have called it Tanya's spa, but for the cats. But They have a dedicated team to work with them. The education that we provide our interns is so vastly important because, we feel like if we're not educating along the way, then we're not really wasting our time. But, we need to make sure that the big cat crisis is solved in our lifetime, we hope. The Big Cat Public Safety Act got passed and the president signed it into action on December 2022. So this year, that's why we've decided to build out Freedom Field. It's a big project. It's a $3.5 million project. We're a nonprofit organization. Our budget was $4.2 million this year, and it's expected with this build out, it's going to go over $6 million for next year. It's a lot to manage to make sure that, we're able to not to raise the funding that we need to be able to manage the day-to-day care of the animals that we've committed to. But it's also, we want to be available now that the bill has been passed because we know how full the other sanctuaries are. Everybody's full. So if there's thousands of animals and only 100 or so got registered, where are all those animals going to go whenever the people find out they're holding them illegally? So out of the goodness of our heart and our team's heart, we're stretching our limits to the max. So yes, donations are greatly appreciated. As a nonprofit, it seems like the majority of our donations do come at this end of the year push. So whatever you guys can do, as little or as big as you can support the foundation, maybe even a reoccurring monthly donation is helpful. And it all adds up. And that's all I ask is that check us out on our website, come to visit. We had to get diverse years ago to be able to manage this nonprofit and to fulfill the needs of the animals. I mean, we feed about 300,000 pounds of meat a year. So, and then we also feed about 200 pounds of produce to our bear that
And that's just to the
a day.
staff. That's just to the
So,
staff, right? You're just feeding the
yeah.
staff.
Yeah.
Well, I have to say
So,
I have been there three different times with my family. If you live close to or planning a vacation, go for goodness sakes. It is so much fun. It is so educational. The people you walk around these big sanctuaries, it's incredible to see. Give them something, and lo and behold, it's quarterly. You get this big, beautiful magazine that has this gorgeous pictures in it, telling you what's going on, telling you what's happening. That's worth the price of admission. I got one like about a month ago, and it's worth absolutely the do it. Just do it. Just do it. I
Well,
do
we
have a
also have our lodging, that's very important
oh
is
oh oh
because
oh
yeah, the
yeah.
lodging, you can spend the night or spend a few days. The longer you're here, the more you're going to learn because the animals move around. You might take a tour one time and that animal is sleeping. But if you stick around, you're going to see it up, running, playing, doing all the things that they do through a 24 hours period.
Yeah.
Where, if you're just on a quick tour, you might not get to experience all those things. But we call it the call of the wild because the lions carol. So when one starts roaring, then the rest of them will roar simultaneously. So you get this ooh, 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 real loud noise, and then the leopards will chime in, and it's just a amazing experience.
It's wild.
so
That's what it
that is
is.
so cool. And there's such a trend now. I mean, I'm not even going to call lions and tigers and bears agritourism, but there is a trend for people to go stay at Airbnbs or hip camps or like you have. Tell everyone and tell us. I mean, I've seen it on your website, but all the different types of options where people can come stay there, and it's really an incredible experience.
Yeah, and we have the caravan carnivore tours. You can schedule one of those. That'll get you behind the scenes to see our veterinarian hospital, our commissary where we do all the meat prep, get you down to Rescue Ridge. And right now, it'll even take you to Freedom Field, which is the newest build out where the big cat rescue cats are living. So It's
Okay.
you
That's
know, it's
awesome.
pretty exciting.
So you have
Yeah.
some like glamping tents, you have some cabins, you have so what are the options people can do? They book it on your website, right? And so what are these? Are they right next to the cat? Just share a little bit for everybody about
Sure.
each option.
Yeah, we have the Zulu Safari Lodges. They're adults only. It's only because we have some expensive art. The people that build them were artists. They're a very unique little, it's like you're going to Africa, but you don't go to Africa. You come to Arkansas. So, you know, you can hear the lions roar. The cats are in their habitat, so you don't have to worry about getting eaten. You know, it's kind of cool. And you can still hear
Oh,
them and
nice.
all.
Kinda, just
But, you know,
kinda cool.
yeah, so you can actually come and go as you like. You're not stuck here at the sanctuary but and locked in at night. So you can come and go as you like. And then um, those are 5 units. I think if you rent all 5, you can get the 4th one free. So that's a fun way to encourage you to bring other couples with you. So and then there's a fire pit and a hot tub up there and a central deck where everybody can convene together. So it's really nice for wine clubs or just small group people that want to come. And you know, you have it's a little private deck also. So that's one of the options. We have 2 glamping tents that we rent out during the summer. You can house it. We can sleep up to 6 people in those. You know, it's cozy. You have to go outside to go to the bathroom. There's another bathroom outside, so you share a bathroom with both tents. And we have a tree house. That's really cool. It's
That's
very popular. A lot of people love coming and to the treehouse. We have 2 units that are right, you know, near the main compound, which they're all just, you know, 100 yards from each other. And they're right near the sanctuary. I mean, right inside the sanctuary. The cats are totally, like I said, we have a perimeter fence and stuff, so you can't get in there after dark, you know, but you are right there. I mean, literally one of the rooms, the Siberian room, you can look out the window and see the cats in the backyard. So the bingo
wow.
room, and those are family friendly units also. So, um, you know, which, like I said, we just had to get diversified to be able to support our mission. And a lot of our donors years ago, I mean, we started lodging probably in 94 or 5, you know, we realized that our donors that we need them to come and stay longer, you know, they want to be here and we're sending everybody to town. So that was a revenue source that we felt like we could, you know, use
Brilliant.
and
Yeah.
it would get them here so they could learn more about the sanctuary and what it takes to run a sanctuary day to day. I mean, we have over 100 big cats and bear. You can only imagine the work that goes into all of that, maintaining the animals to the top standards, and then with the build out, it's been uh, a remarkable year. I can tell you that. You
Yeah,
know, we're
yeah.
blessed that Big Cat Rescue funded 1.8 million of the $3.5 million we have to come up to build out the Freedom Field. Um, you know, everything, of course, went a little over budget that we anticipated, but you know, that's just a sign of the times right now. I think all construction materials and stuff are up 20 to 30%. So that's what we're experiencing here in Arkansas anyway. And we're just excited to get it built out and then be ready to take in the animals that are going to be caught in we feel like the fallout of the law getting passed. And we're very
Why
thankful because we see a light at the end of the tunnel. We feel like these animals will, um, you know, we will solve the big cat crisis maybe in my lifetime, if not mine, within my children's lifetime, I hope.
why do you think individuals think it's okay or desirable to own one of these big wild animals?
It's just from ignorance, I think. I don't think they really understand what it's going to take care of a big cat. You know, it's a novel idea to imagine yourself, you know, having this cat play on your lap. And if you go on YouTube and, you know, the social media, you see that happening all the time. It drives me crazy because all that does is feed into people's emotions, thinking that they can do this. And um, which creates more problem for us as a sanctuary because the more people that do it, the sooner, you know, we're going to be needed again. And it's just very frustrating for the sanctuaries out there to constantly get calls on animals that without us, they would be destroyed. And it's just through people not understanding what they eat, how much time you need for them. Usually the people that get them, if they have the money, they don't have the time. If they have the time, they don't have the money. And it takes a big combination of both of those to be able to manage a big cat or large carnivore, um, you know, in captivity. So it's a huge undertaking, and I just encourage everybody not to do it. Big cats aren't pets; they are wild animals, and you can't breed that out of them. So please come volunteer at Sanctuary if you want to. Learn how to take care of big cats, or you even have a thought that this might be something you ever want to do, because we can teach you real quick that that's probably not a good idea.
So the law that was just passed, though, makes it illegal for people to have them, right?
Yeah, the law has made that illegal. So, but wherever there's a law, there's always a way around it, is what we find. And so I'm sure a lot of this is going to continue to be underground, and it has. It's third to, uh, you know, people trafficking, animal trafficking, uh, guns and drugs. That's animal trafficking's right up there with those other three horrible things that happen in the U.S. and all across the country. So we're just
Really?
glad to be a part of it.
Animal is just like drugs, it is as big.
Yeah, it's a huge problem, and we've maintained 100 big cats or more for the last 31 years. I mean, it's rarely dropped under that amount of animals. And at one time, my board said to me, they said, it'd be nice if we could just get 10% of the cages available, for when rescues happen. I'm like, yeah, well, that would be awesome, wouldn't it? But unfortunately, we keep getting all these calls, and um, that spurs us to have
Time
to
to
go
build
on a
some more.
rescue,
Is
and
is
it fills
is
up our cages.
is it scary when you have to go in and rescue one of these big cats? I mean,
I,
that
I'm not scared of the cats. I'm scared of usually the owners, because you never know what kind of crazy people you're going to deal with that are in the big cat world. And um, I'm also scared of the caging, whenever we go in. I mean, just for instance, we went into Mountainburg, 2014. There was 34 big cats there that we had to try to get out of there. And most of the cats were living in basically dog cages. So 6 foot tall. Some of them didn't have fences or tops on them. You talking about scary. Every time we went on that property, we could only take out 2 at a time, because we didn't have space for them here. And the lady was adamant that we take every animal. We ended up bringing in 28 of those animals back then. She ended up getting a few away to another organization, and I think 2 didn't make it out. So,
Wow.
yeah, I mean, and the first 12 times we went there, there was police escorts because they knew it was dangerous. We went in to help the Mountainburg Sheriff's Department, take care of the situation when the lady got too old to take care of her animals. So, yeah, it was, it's
So
scary.
how does a person like that, this woman is taking care of animals, but it's risky for her too, right? How she has her setup. How
Oh
does a
gosh, yeah.
person do that? Like, I can't even imagine having that as my day-to-day reality, trying to feed and do whatever with these subpar cages and no tops. And I mean, what if there's like a cat riot or something?
It happens, she
How
had all of her cats individual because she didn't want to have them fighting and stuff. And, the sad thing is that at one time she had over 100 animals, and she was
wow.
never a people person. So, uh, when the sheriffs got us involved, she was 72 years old and dying of cancer. And if we weren't there, the animals would have been shot and killed because there was no other alternative for them. And luckily, we were
Wow.
only an hour and 45 minutes from this location. We were able to go in and take what we could and help out where we could, and got the mission done, which is what we do. We're able to to do these things pretty efficiently now because we've learned how to do them. We've got the equipment to make sure that's done properly, and our goal is just to save the animal and make sure it's got a good ending to hopefully a long life.
Yeah. Well, Tanya, our hats and our hearts are out to you. This has been absolutely fascinating, and I encourage everyone, go to the website, Turpentine Creek, and just have a ball looking at the pictures and getting to know this organization, and then open up your wallet and do something good and make a little donation. And then you're going to get their magazine, and then you're going to get to go visit them and stay there and have fun. And you'll be doing good stuff for the world and for this lady. I really admire you.
Thank you so much. We like to say, give until it feels good to you. That's what we like to say. So.
That's great. Robin, do you have any parting words here?
Wow, my mind is blown again. That's one of the things about this show that I just love, because we have so many incredible guests who just, like, I'm almost speechless, which is hard to do if you know me. But Tanya, it's incredible. It's just wrapping my head around your day to day. We live our life with animals also in a totally different way, but knowing your passion, and I can relate to that, wanting to make sure they have a life that's the best for them. But the whole other side of it just is fascinating, like Steve said, and it saddens me, I'll be frank, that there's people out there that will do this to animals out of their own selfishness. But I know it's not unheard of. It just brings to light a serious problem in our country, in the world. And so I don't want to end on a down note, but I want to end on a serious note, in the sense of, I really appreciate you coming on here, Tanya, and being real with us and sharing how serious this issue is. But there is hope. We have a new law that's passed. We have people like you out there who are doing things to not only save these animals, but educate and inform globally, which is really encouraging. So thank you so much for your time. I know, like lots of days, you have emotional days in your world, and I'm sure, this is no different, but taking the time is huge. And we just appreciate so much. We will put in the show notes all of the links to get a hold of you, so people can find you, check out if they're local, go visit, website for donations, any way that you can support Tanya and her efforts with the large organization she has with over 100 of these magical animals. Thank you so much, man. It's been amazing. And Steve, can't wait to hear the update of the build out. That's maybe Tanya, we can have you back on Freedom Field. Like, the build out is done. We now have room for this many cats, and it would be wonderful to hear an update in a year.
And we will do that, Tanya. I'll call you, and we'll have you maybe send us some pictures that we can share with people as you build this out. Again, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being you and doing what you have done for so long for these magical, majestic beings. I really appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it from A View from the Summit. We'll see you next week. Take care.
This program is made possible by Summit Animal Health. If you have a dog, cat, or horse with mobility issues, Summit Animal Health has the all-natural, drug-free solution that comes with a satisfaction guarantee. Summit Animal Health products are used by Olympic gold medal equestrians, leading rodeo stars, professional dog trainers and handlers, and people just like you. Whether working companion or couch potato, Summit Animal Health can keep them moving. Check them out online at summitanimals.com. New to Summit? Use the code VIEW15 and receive 15% off your initial order. We'll see you next week for another View from the Summit.